it comes back again to that self-worth. It's me proving to myself that I can do something. That you get so self-reliant on these people because that's how they make it be, that it's very hard for you to imagine you could have anything that's for yourself, or that you've built yourself, or that shines a light on you.
Hey, it's Cheryl, and welcome to Secrets of a Survivor podcast, where I'm sharing my story, my challenges, and my learnings along the way, both business and personal. Basically, all the things. If I can do it, then so can you. So I'm here to help you on your way and be the person I wished I'd had. So let's get started with today's episode. Hello and welcome to today's episode of Secrets of a Survivor. Today I am joined by a very special guest, my friend Lauren. And Lauren is actually going to be, or is, should I say, the first guest I've got in a little series that I wanted to share with everyone called A Survivor Story. And I wanted to bring on fellow survivors to share a little bit about their stories, but most importantly, what they're doing now, where they're thriving, they're doing amazing things and achieving incredible things, just to show that what's possible really, and that there is hope out there. So today Lauren has joined me, and I will let Lauren introduce herself.
It does feel like there's nothing on the other side of it. That it does feel like that's your life and you just live it because there's nothing else on the other side of it. And I really felt that strongly. It's made me feel a bit emotional bringing that back, actually, because my story is from quite a long time ago. It was about 14 years ago now, 15 years ago. I was married to a man we were together for 4 years in total, and it ended in a guilty charge of assault by beating, which, long story short, my relationship was kind of like, it was really, it's always hard to describe it, isn't it? Because you underplay it. I think you naturally underplay it, and I think you naturally try and romanticize it. Maybe that's a survival thing. I don't know. But I always find myself justifying it because it validates you in some way. But it ultimately ended up, I had 3 kids that I co-parented with my previous husband. And my benchmark, my point of this is enough, I always said, was if he was violent while the kids were in the house. I think, is that a thing that survivors all have as well? Is like, there's an end point where if that happens, when that happens, that's when I'll strike and that's when I'll move or whatever. That actually happened then. So one night my kids were all asleep and they were aged like, I don't know, 9, 7 and 2. And they were asleep in their bed, and we got into an altercation, and I was knocked out basically, and came round just thinking I could have died at that point, and that was my end point where I knew I wasn't going to put up with it anymore. So that the next day I went to the police, yada yada yada. It ended in a guilt conviction, which, I mean, I don't know. I don't really look at this stuff anymore, Cheryl, but I'm hoping that they're changing the charges from assault by beating to something far more superior, because that was just, in my head, I was thinking that just sounds like he's had a fight in a pub. And actually what's happened is my whole life had to change, and I had to move house, and I had to move my 3 kids, and I had to live under the shadow of what caused the end of the relationship. Fast forwarding past that, I then met my now partner only a year later, and that's when I truly fell apart and went into sort of intense therapy at that point, and my PTSD was dealt with, and I had to face it all head on, and I went through all the procedures to undo a lot of the damage that had been caused. After that, propel forward again. I'm still in the relationship 13 years on. We've been together 13 years with my husband now. We've gone on to have a son. And at the age of 46, after all of this, I mean, I'm cutting a very long story short, obviously, but I then set up my own business. I got to a place where I felt secure enough and confident enough to be able to branch out on my own and to actually do something that mattered to me, which is the business I set up, which is for reusable period pads, and changing the game on the idea of using reusable menstrual products, removing shame from that. And I suppose when you've lived with shame, you can connect with shame, you understand how deep shame can sit. So then bring that to my business today and deal with period shame I'm not so scared to talk openly about it. So that's where I started, and that's where I've ended up with my story of being a survivor, I guess.
And that's incredible. Thank you for sharing that with us. And it is just so incredible. I've seen, obviously, we've known each other now for a few years, and I've seen a bit of your journey with Wear 'Em Out. And you are just achieving amazing things. You've recently won another award, which I know I'm going to share this because I know you won't. You've recently won another award, which is amazing. And you currently have a campaign going. So tell us a little bit about the campaign.
So do you know what? When you've gone through something like we have, Cheryl, it's kind of like you feel like you and if you talk about it openly like you are, you're creating a legacy or around, survivor stories or whatever. That's leaving a legacy behind. Another thing that I'm passionate about, like I said, is period shame and education in menstruation. So our legacy will be that we are trying to change the law so that it is mandatory in primary school that in sex education classes they discuss all menstrual options, and that includes reusable options such as pads, pants, cups, discs, all of the available items. Because I just feel like our young people going to school, my son at 11, he has just had sex education and they offered them a Tampax at the age of 11. And a disposable pad with no information around what that's doing to you physically with all the chemicals in these products, or where these products are ending up and polluting the planet. So we are calling on the government to, just please make it mandatory that all education has to include other options to these kids so that they can make informed choices, because that's what life's about, right? Informed choices. And yeah, I need a stupid, Cheryl, I don't know if I've bitten off more than I can chew. I need 100,000 signatures to make it a discussion in Parliament, but 10,000 so that it can be an option to discuss. So I've got a long way to go, but I'm here for it because we've fought bigger fights as far as I'm concerned.
Definitely. And I've got no doubt you'll get there. I mean, you're already at, what, 2,000? Are you almost at?
We launched it 2 days ago, and we're about 1,700, I think, at the moment. So I have got a long way to go, and it's a lot of marketing.
Amazing.
To do. But even if it just opens the conversation to more people, then we've left some kind of legacy. Yeah. That's what I'm all about now. We're here for a reason. We're not here for one story. Our book is full of chapters, and we just rewrite those chapters as and when we can, when we've got the strength to, and when we've got the inclination to.
Yeah, no, I think it's incredible, and I have no doubt that you're going to get what you need to get it discussed in Parliament, because you are a force to be reckoned with. When you want to do something, I've seen you do it. So
I call myself a dog.
You will, and it is so. Yeah, no, I have no doubt, and you are, and this is one of the reasons I wanted you to come on the show as well, is because you have achieved and you have done a load of work on yourself as well, and you value the importance of doing the work. So would you, I don't even know how to even ask the question, but how did you know that you needed that help and support in the first place?
I think just out of desperation. My mental health was so questionable at that point. My defences were so high. I was angry at everybody and everything. So to be able to enter into another relationship, to be able to enter into another relationship and to be able to, one, believe that I was worthy of it. That was one of my big sticking points. Like, the distrust came from self-worth, in that, he would say he loved me. My self-worth was telling me he doesn't. How could he? So recognizing that it just felt like I could not progress in life without facing all of the stuff that I'd gone through. And it affects every single relationship. The saving grace for me is that I didn't have children with him, and I don't know how I would navigate that situation, which I know you do, I know lots of people do. So I do think I'm, in inverted commas, one of the lucky ones. It's hard to explain, isn't it? And like, one of the things
I know what you mean.
Yeah, and like, if people ever say, why don't they just leave? This is my real bugbear. Why don't they just leave? Why would you stay in a relationship like that? Why would you put yourself in that position? I used to always say that, it's better the devil you know. I knew what I was waking up to. if I leave, what next? What happens next?
Yeah.
Firstly, they don't let go. You can't just leave and it's all behind you and you move on. That is going to bring a whole heap of shit to deal with as well. There's no easy way. I just know the safest way was to leave, knowing that there was going to be repercussions on me leaving, like court cases and solicitors and dealing with the fallout and the shame and having to explain to people, because I kept it very hidden from my closest people. So, yeah, I don't know what my point was there that I was making, Cheryl, but I knew there was a lot. I knew that there was a process that I needed to go through to be able to come out of it, being able to move on positively, because it affects us emotionally and mentally so much. I just was so angry. The rage and the anger that had built up and the resentment had to be dealt with. It had to come out.
Yeah, that's good. So anyone that's, obviously I've been through therapy as well, and I've had I still have a lot of support. And for anyone that's thinking about, do they need support, or thinking that they don't need it, I always say, do it. What would your advice be for those as well?
100% do it. Unfortunately, it's not accessible to all, because the way that our country works is that they don't make it accessible to all. Obviously, there's free helplines that will be able to signpost you. So Women's Aid, we've talked about Refuge, that will be able to signpost you and support you. The ongoing support is the work you need to do with yourself. And whether that's even just picking up a book to understand yourself better, to see what bits need addressing, it could be as simple as that. And as far as having intense therapy like I had and probably you had, finding some way to understand yourself better, to see what needs to be dealt with and worked with to free yourself up from all that feeling.
Yeah, no, that's great advice. Thank you. And obviously you then, down the line of taking that leap and set up your own business, how have you found setting up your own business has helped you in that journey of giving you freedom and things like that? Has it built your confidence as well?
100% built my confidence. It comes back again to that self-worth. It's me proving to myself that I can do something. That you get so self-reliant on these people, because that's how they make it be, that it's very hard for you to imagine that you could have anything that's for yourself, or that you've built yourself, or that shines a light on you, maybe. So, oh God, that's brought up a whole ton of emotion.
Bless you.
Because it's such an attack on your self-worth. For me to be able to stand in my own right, in my own power, and saying, this is my legacy and this is what I'm leaving, in spite of all of that, that's the power. That's what I've almost as well. Like I've talked to you before about writing the chapters for your book. Every chapter in your story, your life story, becomes part of your book. I had to go through that chapter, and as tacky as it sounds, I had to go through those chapters to get to the point where I can do this. And would I ask for those chapters again? Maybe not, but I can see the collateral beauty in it. It has given me the drive and the purpose and the resilience. I can look back on that experience and use it as a positive reference for my resilience and for my strength and my belief in myself. I left with 3 kids and had to rehome us and do all the stuff. That's a great, great reference point for me when I'm looking at how strong I am, how resilient I am, how capable I am. Even when, every odd is stacked against me and I haven't got a pot to piss in, I know that I can still achieve. So all of that has become part of where I am now. And however painful it may have been to get here, I'm standing in my power because of that experience. So, God, this is like a therapy session in itself, Cheryl.
I didn't mean it to be. But you've hit the nail on the head there, though.
Yeah.
No, you have. I think you've just, and there's just been a light bulb moment for me there. It's like whenever we face a challenge in our business, which I've faced many, and I know you've faced a few, it's never going to be as bad as what we've experienced. And if we can get through that, which we have, we can get through anything.
It has to be a point of reference.
I've never looked at it like that before.
Oh, there, you're welcome. It has to be a point of reference for everything going forward. Our strength of character, our resolve, our commitment to ourselves. When you're having those moments where you feel so worthy and so shit and so pointless and which I've certainly felt myself, to look back and say, the commitment to myself was to get me to a place of safety. It's a huge commitment to make for yourself. And if you've made that level of commitment, then, the sky's the limit. You can give anything a go. And whether it works out or not, I don't believe in failure at all. I would try everything. I've had a million failed, in inverted commas, businesses or harebrained ideas. But, I'm giving it a go. And I think that's because what have I got to lose?
Exactly. And it always takes you that next step further, whether it went as you wanted it to go or it didn't. You always learn something, which then propels you even further forward, doesn't it?
Well, life's not linear, is it? It's a roller coaster. So
exactly,
that was just one of the dips of the roller coaster of my life.
Exactly, which is why I wholeheartedly believe you'll get enough signatures on your petition, because. But no, look at you. Your strength is incredible. You've been through so much, and yet you're still always going forward, and you're putting yourself out there when you're doing this now. Yeah, I've no doubt you can do it. I
think, though, Cheryl, and it's the same for you. We are here for a reason, then.
Yeah, and I think this is my reason.
Yes.
To share my story, to inspire others or help others. That's what I think is my story.
It just can't be underestimated, though, that sharing, because thinking back, the isolation that you feel is one of the biggest things in those relationships. The pure isolation that even your most trusted friend or your most loved family member cannot understand it in the way that somebody else who's been through it can.
Yeah.
There's no way that anybody can even begin to feel how it feels, which is why, the assault by beating conviction is just an insult. It's just an insult. It doesn't even touch on what it actually means to be in that position, and nobody else understands it but another survivor. So you talking about it, shining a light on it, and also shining a light on life after it, it's just so essential for people's recovery and for people to be inspired to make the move. And I just think it's incredible and selfless, absolutely selfless, because I know what it takes to share it, and it's a real moment of vulnerability and having to revisit things that are painful. So hats off to you, my love.
Oh, thank you. Hats off to you too for coming sharing today as well. And I really appreciate you coming on and talking about your story. And as I said, I've got no doubt you're going to get where you need to be with this petition, and I will link all the details in the show notes. So I encourage everyone who's listening to this to go and sign the petition, because obviously it's going to help and make a massive difference to the future and our future generations as well.
Yes, lovely. Thanks so much, Cheryl.
Yes. No, thank you. It's been a pleasure chatting with you as always, and I'm sure we'll carry on chatting more and more and more.
Yeah, I shall see you soon, my love.
So I just wanted to quickly share something with you. My husband, James, and I are going to be running the London Marathon next year as part of Team Refuge. It's something that has been on both of our bucket lists for years, and to be part of Team Refuge and raise money for such an incredible charity is just an honour. So for those of you who don't know, Refuge provides specialist services to survivors of domestic abuse, and they also run the free phone 24-hour National Domestic Abuse Helpline, which I've got in the show notes below the details of. So if you are able to support us in any way, so either by donating or sharing our Just Giving page or just telling people about it, really, we would be so grateful. I've included the link to our Just Giving page in the show notes. Thank you so much in advance for your support. It really does mean the world to us. Thank you so much for listening to this episode. I hope you've enjoyed it and found it helpful. If you'd like more help and support, check out the show notes for links to my website, socials and YouTube channel. Please subscribe wherever you get your podcasts, and don't forget to share and tag on your social posts. And if you wouldn't mind leaving a review, I'd be really grateful. Thank you so much again. I just want to leave you with this thought. You are strong, you are capable, you are lovable, and you are brave. But most importantly, you are enough. You've got this.